And we're live.
You know, I've flown through and I'm like, I kind of want a cigarette. And like, I know I can walk right in there and ask for a cigarette, and these people will help. The thing about smokers, all right, they're generous people. You know, a cigarette is like $6 a pack, $7 a pack. So what does that come to? 35. I guess it's not that big of a deal. 35, 40 cents a piece. But I've never asked for a cigarette and been turned down in my entire life. It's never happened.
Friendly, generous.
And no one has ever asked me for a cigarette, and I've never turned down anyone who's asked me for a cigarette.
Has anyone ever turned you down because you've been like, hey, here's my Marlboro Red or whatever the fuck you smoked, and they're like, oh no, I don't smoke that.
No, nobody's picky when they're beggars can't be choosers. I've never had anybody be picky about the brand. Or I always smoked menthols, so like, you know, some people could be picky about that.
If I was a smoker, I think I'd pick menthols too. Now, they're usually associated with black people, right? Like is that a fair assumption?
I don't hear that as much anymore.
But they're like
all their marketing is toward black people.
But they're the minty ones. They're like, I don't know. Look, I like my coffee cinnamon bun flavored, and I think I'd like my cigarettes to be menthol.
Yeah, I find like Marlboro Lights, especially, and Marlboro Reds, I feel like they taste like cardboard. Like if you ever burning cardboard boxes and you like get a whiff of it, that's what those cigarettes taste like to me. But like Marlboro Smooth, which is what I always smoked. Like last year when I was smoking for the Halloween thing, I bought a pack of Marlboro Smooths. They taste like peppermint.
Was it nice? Was it a nice little blast to the past where you're like,
oh yeah,
I remember why I did this.
Yeah,
this is pretty
good.
It's
like when we went to Colorado a few years ago, we were all smoking. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm smoking.
When you smoked, did you have negative impacts from smoking? Did you have a cough? Did you have shortness of breath? Nothing.
The only time I'd ever get a cough is like sometimes my cousin and I would do these like all night gaming sessions where we'd like try to beat like a Halo campaign in one sitting, and we were switching the controllers back and forth. This is before co-op. I guess it had co-op, but it would have been split screen. It plays like shit. So we go back and forth, and like whenever he's playing, I'm just chain smoking cigarettes, and vice versa. And if I smoke like a whole pack like in a night, yeah, that's way too much, and I would have a cough the next day. But
you were never a pack a day smoker.
No, I'd smoke like sometimes a pack would last 3 days, but usually it'd last like 2.5 days, something like that. I'd smoke somewhere between 5 and 15 a day, depending on if I drove a lot, that was a heavy smoking day, because like, I don't know, just driving and smoking, especially like driving across the country where there's nothing else to do.
It kept you occupied a little bit.
Just keep you occupied.
Did you ever use dip, like chewing tobacco?
I got peer pressured into it a couple times in high school, and I always got sick.
It is such an unpleasant feeling.
Yeah,
to have that stuff in your mouth.
You did it a bunch, right, Taylor? Am I crazy? I thought you used to dip on the show.
No.
Maybe I'm
I had these like little things, but this is just nicotine salts in a pouch. I'm talking about like the actual like real.
Wait, where do you get those?
These are just at the gas station. It's called a Zyn. It's just nicotine salts in a pouch. There's no tobacco in it. It's like the same thing as snus. You just put, and it's a teeny tiny little pouch.
And they're peppermint?
This one is peppermint. Yeah.
Do you spit or swallow?
It's spitless. It's like snus. So you swallow it all. But there's like, it doesn't make you spit a lot. I haven't used one of these in a while, but like the dip is like, my grandpa does that, where you take the tin and you like mush your finger down and like get that big old pinch. He throws it in there. Got it all over his bottom teeth. You can see little bits of it collecting in his Diet Pepsi bottle he's spitting. But I had a bunch of friends who like, I don't know what it was with them, because a lot of them were like, you know what, smoking, too bad for me. I'm a dip man now. And I was like, well, okay. You know, I had at least 2 friends who got really, really addicted to it. It's like multiple tins or cans a day, which I don't know if a can a day is like the equivalent amount of tobacco.
That's a lot. It smells good.
Cigarettes.
I like the smell of dip.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were just to open it, like it's like, oh, wintergreen. That does kind of smell like wintergreen. But
just regular Copenhagen, I think, smells good.
For a non-smoker though, or non-dipper, it is. It's hard to phrase how gross that is. To be in the same room as like a beer can filled with that saliva stuff. It's so gross. And your own body's not as gross to you, right? Like, you know, I'd rather not touch your blood, but my blood, of course, is part of me. It's no big deal. And that's also true with saliva, ejaculate, you name it. But yeah, so having like someone else collect their dip saliva in a jar, ew.
So
It's
so
horrible.
my dad never dipped, but my uncle and my cousin both like either chewed tobacco, like red man chewing tobacco, or dipped for a long time. I think my uncle smokes now, but
Switch back.
yeah, he switched back. And I think Scott maybe goes back and forth. I haven't seen him in a while, but last I saw him, he'd go back and forth. You know, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and so like they would be working with my dad, and they'd be spitting in bottles, and my dad had to come up with this rule where like, you take your fucking bottle with you. I've had it. This is the end. You take, because what happened one day is like it was a hot summer's day.
Oh no.
And dad had been working hard, and he's just all sweaty and real thirsty, and he hops in the truck, starts it up, gets that AC cranked up, and he's just parched. And he looks in the console, and look at there, right there in the cup holder is a nice Dr. Pepper about half full. And so he grabs that Dr.
with
Pepper
extra pulp. Yeah.
and he's just like glump glump glump. Oh! He just like crawls out of the truck, like vomiting on the ground, and everybody's like, "What happened?" And he's just like, "He's fucking spit." That was the end. That was the end of that. Forevermore after that, like spit bottles were not allowed, and if you were going to have a spit bottle, you could only spit in like a Mountain Dew bottle or a Sprite bottle or a water bottle.
Exactly.
You can't spit in a fucking Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, a cola bottle. That's not.
If you spit on the ground, in my mind anyway, it's instant gone. Just spit in the grass.
Or if
A
you're in
lot
a car,
of them are doing
though.
it inside, and so like yeah, it has to. The bottle has to be marked. It has to be resealed after every spit. Like I remember. Oh, dude, I used to get so mad. In like it was, I guess when we would come back from college in between like semesters, and I'd throw a party at my mom's house, and the next morning after cleaning up, like, and the whole time they'd be like, "No, dude, like I take a red Solo cup and I put a bunch of paper towels in there, and then I spit and it just absorbs it all." And the next morning I'm walking around just like, just trying to throw these things away
not the only
because
one.
they reek.
Yeah,
They are horrific.
I thought you guys were going to be like, Woody, it's no big deal. It's just a little spittle. But you're on the same side.
You ever seen those old people that have the I think it might be called snus or snuff. I don't know which. They have those tall tins of snuff that look like a salt shaker, and they snort it.
No.
It's like,
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's like old timey.
I think it's snus.
No,
or
snuff,
maybe
because snus is this thing I'm talking about, like the spitless pouch thing.
Oh,
All the Swedes
don't
use in the
Google
NHL.
snuff, people. Don't Google snuff.
Oh, are you seeing people die?
How many F's in snuff?
God damn it.
We saw something interesting after your drug test. You're looking up
Snuff
films?
tobacco.
Actually, if you just what did you Google? I just got snuff tobacco.
Oh.